Hello there, and today we are going to be learning how to make a toggle. So right here we have my Sabrine, and currently I have some piercings on the Sabrine that I am wanting to toggle. What we're first going to do, for this is turn them off, so we won't need them on till later. Alright, now you do want to keep your armature up to be able to toggle them. But what we're first going to do, you're going to click on your Sabrine. We're going to go to parameters. And we're going to add a parameter. Now, if this was just one toggle, it's going to be a boolean. And basically just name it whatever you want. I'm just going to name this piercings. And you make sure it's a bool in type, default is off, and saved is on. Now, I'll quickly explain what default and save does. Now, with default, it basically depends, is it going to be on by default? Saved is when you change in from one avatar to another. If you change from an avatar and go back into this, will it be saved as a toggle? So will it still be on, or do you have to automatically go in and toggle it on again? Now, with that out of the way, we have to go to your animator, and if you don't know how to bring that up, you click on your Sabrine, and then over here in base, you double click the Sabrine FX, and it'll bring up an animator. Now I've just moved mine to the side here so I can still see my scene, but basically it will bring up the animator like so. Now, if you want to get to the animation, what I do is I go up to the animator, the controller, go here, and then find the FX, and of course, boom. Now when I click on the Sabrine, I'll have the animations all open. Now what we're going to do in the animator first is add a bool, and then we are going to name it the same thing you named, whatever you named it, and it's going to be piercings. Alright, and now we're going to go to layers, add a layer, and this one, it doesn't matter what you name it, I'll just name it the same thing as I did. You gotta have to have the weight up to 1. And what I do, this will depend on certain avatars if they have right defaults on. If your avatar has written defaults off, you're gonna have to make 2 animations, an on and off animation. But if it has all right defaults on, you create a state, create an empty, and that is your off animation. Now, it doesn't matter where you put this animation. If you want to be, if you just want to be tidy, put it in a folder. I'd put it wherever, which is quite a bad idea. But we'll just name this piercings. You drag the animation into the animator, and then you right-click the new state, make a transition, and then this little arrow with a line will come up, and then you click on piercings, and you just made a transition from new state to piercings. Now you make a transition from piercings to new state, and boom, that you've gotten that sorted. Next thing you need to do, turn off has exit time, add a condition, scroll down to the parameter that you had, piercings, and from new state to piercings, that will be true. But if it's piercings to new state, which is on to off, that'll be false. And now you've gotten that set up as the animation is attached to it. Now we go into our animation tab, and if you don't know how to add the animation tab, you right click down here, add a tab, and boom, you can add an animation tab. Now what we want to do is click this and find our animation called piercings or whatever you named it. Now as you see, it'll come right here, there's a record button, and then there's an add property button. Now what I like to do, this has an animator. Now if things have an animator, then it will mess with if it will come up with the animation right here. But if you just remove that animator, then you can easily find it again without having to do it the other way. Now we press record and then we just turn on what we want and then stop recording. And boom. Now something I use is a gesture manager emulator to check if it worked. But before we do that, we're going to have to go into the menu here down by expressions. There's a menu. Double click that. You go to wherever you need to find things, and then you add a control, name it what you'd like. You make it a toggle, and then you get the parameter. Now the icon doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter of what you put it as. It's just an image that will pop up showing what it's meant to be, and it genuinely doesn't matter with what it is. So I normally just don't add one. But there you go. Now one thing I am going to do with mine is go back into my parameters and make this as a default for my piercings because I want it to be a default. But now we enter play mode. Now to get the gesture manager emulator, which is this, you got what I use is the VRChat creator companion. What you do is you scroll down here and it will have all these things that you can add, and there will be gesture manager that you can add. So there you go. And then once it's imported, you go to tools, gesture manager emulator, and you just click that and it'll pop up in your scene. Well, not in your scene, your hierarchy. So now, since it is emulating what each thing is on and stuff, we go to extra clothing, and then this is just how you test it. As you see, the piercing toggle works. Now, for doing things like blend shapes with animations, blend shape stuff, basically we're going to go to an existing animation I have here. With what I'm wanting to do with this, I am wanting to remove the fins. By default, the fins are off, as how this avatar works is a bit wacky, but what we're going to do is we're going to click on shark parts down here, go to the blend shapes, as you see. We're going to press record, and then we're just going to move a blend shape slider up to the max or down. It doesn't matter which way. But basically now when this is toggled, those blend shapes will activate for what you put them as, and it'll work like that. Now testing, since we're done with that, testing, you go into enter play mode. I like to go to my scene. We're looking at the emulator here. Now with body clothing, I'll just turn off the top. And with the top, when I turn off the top, it brings back the fins. Now if I go into here, when I turn on that shirt, boom, the fins go away. And that is how you do something, that's how you do a toggle with blend shapes. There are many other ways of toggles, like toggling with integers, which is a whole nother situation, but I'll be doing that for another video. And that is how you, that's how you do a toggle. Now you know two ways of making toggles, which is one with a blend shape and one just regular true or false. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.